Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. I am Shelley Butler.
I'm confused. Oh, right there. Okay. I'm Yves Doucet, always.
Yes,
Hey,
you
so
are.
maybe this morning different.
Yeah, maybe this morning different.
Okay. So
No, he's still Yves
I'm
Doucet.
still Yves Doucet.
Yeah, he's still Yves
But I'm,
Doucet. He had a little face glitch earlier. We're
uh,
watching his we're watching his face. I had never seen it. I've been
well,
around
okay. So
for
we
a
have to
long time.
determine that I had a glitch or you saw something that wasn't real. So
Ugh.
so you
It's
should
yeah,
put yourself to you could be high on something. I don't know. It's Monday
I,
morning,
I could.
right?
I could.
So
And if I had have made the wise choices, I would have been. But no, I'm not. I'm not high yet. But I'm not low either. I'm just right.
So you are. Hmm. Um, so I had some like really cool experiences that I would talk about with you
Okay,
guys.
let's do it.
So one of my favorite one of my good books, I shouldn't say favorite books, it's a book that I really enjoyed is a book called It's Your Ship by Mike
Abersoft.
Abasoff.
Yes.
I love that book.
We
And
got to see him
we
on
did
stage and he was a presence. Let
he
me
was
tell you, you want to talk about a leader. He was absolutely a leader, and he was the captain of the USS Bentley, and it was a
mm-mm.
ship in the Pacific that used to haul gear, used to haul, so if Haiti had a hurricane or something went on, his ship would bring all that material that's required, um, to the land that be, to the people that needed it.
Right.
Unfortunately, he was on the worst
Ship.
Pacific
Mm.
Fleet ship that there was. So he was the youngest captain ever granted permission, right, to take over this
He
fleet, this
was.
boat, the USS or the SS Bentley, and yeah, he righted his ship.
He righted the ship.
Yeah.
So the reason that's interesting for me, it's always about how do you want to leave people. So one of the things we did, Shelley and I, we took a few classes with Mr. Robin Sharma. And one of the things that Robin did for us is he had us write our obituary. And when I do a lot of coaching, I did 6 hours of coaching on Friday.
Yeah,
That's the
you're
whole day.
amazing. You're amazing.
And
Yeah.
anyway, so it's mostly men recently,
Yeah.
young men.
Yeah.
Business guys, not business guys. I don't know why.
Me
Anyway,
too.
it goes up and down. Sometimes it's girls,
Well,
sometimes
for
it's
me, it's
men.
always been women.
Really? You
Yeah,
have
it's
no.
only recently that it's been men. Yeah.
Oh, so you're getting some men.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Remember
getting some men?
Yes, I am.
And I'm just talking about coaching.
Exhausted. I'm just exhausted.
So what I loved about that, the whole thing about writing our obituary, Robin Sharma, he had us do
Mm.
this obituary, is that it kind of sets the compass for your life, right?
Mm.
What do you want to do? How do you want to leave people? How do you want to be remembered, right?
Yeah.
And this book talks about that. So
Does.
that the whole thing was like, and maybe you can continue in the summary of the book so people don't have to read it.
Yeah. It's a great book.
You
It's
should
a
read
it's a
it.
book that you absolutely should read. It has some beautiful stories in it, but this particular SS Bentley, it never ever had anybody sign up um to go into another 6 month stint, right? In on this ship. So it's a big commitment.
Mm.
You are heading on the ship. You're there for quite some time. So this particular ship, like I say, it was the worst ship in the Pacific Fleet. And this guy didn't have any qualms about. He was pretty excited about taking it over. But one thing he noticed is as the captains were changing ownership, right? So the old guys coming off and the new guys coming on, is they cheered, they clapped, they wanted this guy off this ship. It was like,
Get off the
get
ship.
off the ship, right?
They didn't
They
show
did
him any
not they
respect.
did not respect him. And Mike immediately said, "You know what? When I leave the ship, they're going to cry."
Mm.
So he made sure that the energy was there. Interesting enough, as they would go into harbor, they always had to paint their ship. And this was a big story that he told. Like every time they would land on a wharf, they'd have to get off and paint this ship, this massive ship. It would take forever to paint. And the boys were kind of hanging out and kind of crapping about the fact that they had to do this. And somebody said, why wouldn't we use like a proper paint so we don't have to paint the ship every time? And Mike overheard this, Captain Mike, and he said, well, why don't we?
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's just because this is how it is. The Navy has done it this way for 100 years, and this is the way it is. And he said, but does it have to be? We have a budget, guys. Like, let's buy the paint that you want to buy. He went out, he made sure, commissioned the paint, got the paint on. They painted the boat, and the next harbor they did not have to paint. Now they had time. Now they went onto land and they painted schools.
Schools.
They rebuilt
Yeah.
hospitals. They were able to give back to the people instead of being just kind of given the stuff over. They were able to really give back to the people. Not only that, but all 200 Navy men signed up except for one. And that one gentleman decided that he would stay in Haiti and work at that school.
Wow.
Right?
It's full of these great
It's
stories
full of the
about
great stories.
how do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy? How
Yeah.
do you, and you don't know the impact. So you can certainly pay for your parade, pun intended, right? And be disrespected,
Mhm.
or you can actually give respect. And most of the things, this is the interesting thing, most of the coaching I do is about how do I get, like a lot of these young men are young, they're middle aged, they're going through some sort of crisis in their life, and they own a business. And what they're looking for is respect.
Mhm.
Respect from their wives, respect from their team, respect from, they're looking for that. And
Blind respect,
they're looking for respect.
just because they own a business.
They're looking for respect,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And we think respect is earned by being tough. Respect is earned by making good decisions. No, respect is earned by being um, present to like that's what Mike did, being present, right, to the circumstances there and doing the right thing for everyone, not just for you. If you
Yeah.
continue doing only the things that is right for you, you will not get respect. If you're trying to buy your way to respect, you will not get respect, right? So this is a very interesting conversation that I'm having a lot of times with people.
Mm.
And so this is why this is such a good book. Now, the reason I want to talk to you about this is because I want to tell you that you're right. Now, how many times have you heard a man say, Shelley, you're right? Glenn say,
Yes, like no, no, he absolutely doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. Every now and again I'll get it, you're right, but pretty rare.
no, it's part of the man code of books. You never tell your wife that's right, that you're right. I'm just joking.
I believe that, to tell you the honest truth.
Swallowing your
I
pride.
believe
But
that.
you're
Yeah.
right. So
Why was I right?
because you've been telling me, and I scold you on this a lot. I say, if you could only see what I see in you, I say that. I
Yeah,
say that.
you
But
do.
I saw what you saw last week.
Oh, good.
So I want to tell you that you're right. And I saw what you saw because a young man wanted me to coach him last week. And this is the second time that he's reached out to coach. And he says, can I just start off by introducing myself? And I knew who he was. Why I'm calling you, right? I said, sure. He says, well, you've always been there for me. And you may not know the impact you have done on my life. But my dad talked about you and Shelley and Dovico every single day. And he did miss one hockey game. He was out there every weekend with me and my family. And he talked about how you guys led this business. And that impacted me.
Yeah.
Now here he is in the workplaces. I have two jobs. I love my jobs. I love what I'm doing. I'm trying to start a new business. I want and that's why I'm calling you. And it seems to be that every time I call you, it's because I'm in a crisis. And I said, no problem. That's why I'm here. And I'll be here anytime you call.
Yeah.
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 And what it reminded me, and the reason I'm saying you're right, is you've been telling me that you were bringing some of the teaching that we're doing at Dovico inside your family to Nicola,
Always.
right?
Always.
And it changed Nicola. And I know that because I know
You know
Nicola.
Nikki.
And I
Yeah.
thought for a while that, are you having a hotline?
I am.
Mhm.
Yeah. 58.
And I,
Having sorry.
and I thought for a while, you know, um, that like oh well, you're blind. It's just one person.
Yeah.
But what I realize more and more is like as you whatever you show up as every single like you do not know the impact you're having on people's lives.
You have none.
If you
No.
show up with respect for them,
Yeah.
if you show up with respect and you're present to the moment, like you're not like overbearing, you're not taking over, you're there for them. It doesn't matter what you do in life, right?
Yeah.
You will have respect on the other side. And so the reason it's important to me is this book, like it's your ship, is like it's your life. How do you want to show up? How do
Yeah.
you want to show up? Do you want to show up like in selflessness and making decision?
Do you want to show up like the last leader showed up?
Right,
Because that's what Mike showed us. Don't show up like the last leader.
right.
Show up as the leader you always wanted to be or you always wanted to follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I hang around amazing people. Like I have
Me
and
too.
like you're one of them,
Yep.
right? I have
Yeah.
my friends are amazing,
Yeah.
but I also follow on social media amazing people.
Me too.
People like Mark Carney. I want to be when I grow up, I want to be Mark Carney. Is he the coolest guy ever? Like
He is
I'm not saying
pretty,
that
he's a pretty
right,
straight
he's like
shooter.
the guy like he's like he acts and he like does things. He's not like I don't know, maybe I know he's not perfect. I'm not saying he's perfect.
No,
I'm
no, he's
saying he's
human.
that I want to be like him, like stoic, caring. He does things that
Vulnerable.
right?
Yeah,
All of
telling us,
yeah.
not kind of mincing words. He's
No,
just telling it
right.
like it is.
Just like
Yeah. And
no nonsense.
yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that he has the ability to do so because
Mhm.
he's been doing this forever. Don't,
So hang around people like that,
yeah,
Shaq O'Neal. Every single city he visited, he goes to play basketball, buy shoes and food for the kids that are
he does.
right.
He
Every
does.
single city,
He every single city he finds a
right?
park. He goes in early. He finds a park
Mm-hmm.
and he goes and plays basketball with the
Right,
kids and
right.
he
Impact,
orders in shoes, he
right?
orders in meals. He makes sure that
Mhm.
he makes an impact. Exactly.
Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Like recently,
Absolutely.
she was in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and she stopped by a hospital. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
People like that. Who else I was thinking about the other day that really impacts me? Keanu Reeves,
Yeah.
right? Obamas,
Yep.
the Obamas, two of them, like,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, so
Absolutely amazing human beings. So there's a lot of people that you can um, model yourself after. You can
yes,
take those like Eve and I were so inspired by Mike. We got to see him on stage. We got to ask him questions, and definitely an inspiration.
absolutely.
But you can take these little pieces of these people, but you're never going to be
Mm-mm.
these people, right?
You have to show yourself as you,
You
right?
do, you do.
And so the barista at Second Cup in Dieppe,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, her name is Tanya,
Mm-hmm.
like that. Every day she shows up with a smile, even
Yep.
though her day's not perfect. And every day she pays attention to the person that's in front of them. She
Yeah.
shows that she has an impact, right? So it doesn't matter what you do. I'm not. I'll never be Taylor Swift. I'm not tall enough. First of all, I can't sing.
Yeah.
So, and I'll never be an admiral of a ship. So how is it, how can I have respect? You have to show up with respect out of your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to say, I want to have this feeling.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling I have with this young man on Friday. This feeling that I made an impact, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be the Taylor Swifts, you know.
No.
My mom, unfortunately, has had another little relapse. She's in the hospital. And when I go in to visit her, and these nurses and doctors and attendants are there, I make sure I tell them how much I appreciate it. I want to recognize these people. These people are doing difficult work. And I
Yes.
think it's super important that we let these people know, the people that are around you, like you said, the barista, in Dieppe, like we have to understand that everybody is here to make some kind of an impact in this world. And if people treat you well, if people show up in your world that are, doing their very best, then it's time to recognize them. It's
It's
time to appreciate them because the way that you make them feel, they'll never forget it. And they're going to go to their next patient and be able to give that much more.
absolutely,
It's a hard job.
it is. And so So the way I'm like, I love surprises every day, and I get surprises. That was a nice surprise from that young man, just taking time, and he took the time to write to me and tell me how much it
The
meant to him.
impact meant.
And he says, and he told me, he says, I don't know you, but I know you,
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
right? So look for the surprise in life. And
Yeah.
so another question you can ask yourself is, what is the feeling you would have if you'd win all the money that you like, more money that you would ever have? If you had more money than you'd ever have, what is the feeling you would get?
Yeah.
And somebody asked me that question the other day when I was coaching. He says, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? I said, well, I wouldn't change a thing. I'd keep on teaching yoga. I'd keep on being here with the team. I would treat my barista the same way. I would continue building my cottage,
Mm-hmm.
right? I wouldn't buy another car. I like my yellow car.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. And so that's the important part is like if you think if you're waiting to be respected until you have all the things, you will continue changing the things, thinking that the respect that you have or you want or the feeling that you want is from the outside world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's Joe Dispenza, right? So Joe Dispenza has taught me that if you live in the present moment of that feeling that you're looking for, you will have everything that you're looking for delivered to you, right?
Agreed.
So we have a little conversation going on.
Oh
You
yeah.
throw it up.
Yes. So in the chat, you'll see the link.
Hmm.
Geez, I forgot all about it actually.
It's okay. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Hi, Giselle.
Thank
Hi,
you
Lori.
very
Hi, Trent.
much.
Owen. Good morning. So we're talking about how you want to like be remembered or how you want to leave, right? And one of the things I discovered is like why do you forgive people that have hurt you? It's because you want to be forgiven. You want to practice what you want to become as. So the more you practice, if you see the other person as narcissistic or like broken, you will become that broken because that's what you practice. Now that's a little deeper than maybe we should go on Monday morning, but anyways, I like what. How do you want to leave? Like, how do you want to leave this world? What do you want to be remembered? And a lot of times we want to be remembered as having an impact, as
Yeah.
being respected. What is that feeling when you are respected? What is that feeling? And if you, before you do the thing, this is Joe Dispenza. If you say, before you do the things, you want to have that feeling, you say, that's the feeling I want. I remember that feeling. You will become that feeling. You will become respected.
Hmm.
So here's
So
the
here's the QR code.
QR code.
Yep. So you can take a picture of this with your phone, of course, and get right in, or you can use the link below. I've also got the link in the chat. And you can join us live here and say what you want to say. You can say it anonymously. You
Mm.
can put your name in if you want, not if you're a guest, of course, but if you're an employee of ours here at Dovico, give you another second to get that information and moving on.
How you want to
How
live?
do you want to live, Eve?
Well, I remember when I was at when I had all the debts in the world and I thought, well, I was 52. I owed a lot of money and I thought I'll never retire. I'll never pay all this debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I may never retire.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, do I want to wait until I have all the money to live my life?
Yep.
No, because the one thing I realized at that time is although I lost a lot of things, what I had lost mostly is time.
Yeah.
So I decided that on that day that no, I'm going to live happy. I'm going to live with love. I'm going to live in abundance. I'm going to live free every day.
Yep.
So when I finally paid, I was lucky enough to be able to pay all of that debt back. Somebody asked me, "You must feel better now that you've paid it." And I thought, no. And that's what I told them. No, I don't feel any different
Mm.
because I've been living in abundance. I've been living in freedom. I've been living in love and respect. I've been living, in curiosity. So nothing changed, right?
Yeah.
So,
Your
so
brain only knows what you tell it, right? You've told us that for years and
yeah,
years. So the thing is if Eve continuously told his brain that he was stressed, he was without, the ability to come out of this. If every day that was his narrative, absolutely, he would not look like this today. Honestly, it takes a lot out of you. Stress
It
and
does.
anxiety takes
It's like
so
there's
much,
so much science behind that,
so much
right?
science behind it. So, how do you want to live?
How do you want to
And
live?
what Eve is really saying here is I decided that I was going to live in abundance even though I couldn't buy a coffee some
Right.
days.
So let's bring it down to something that's very dear and close to our heart. Do you, and I posted about this last week. Do you want to, instead of waiting to be happy or to love yourself when you lose weight,
Mm,
can you love yourself as you are?
mm.
The weight will take care of themselves. Now,
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
attacking a $1 billion business here of dieting and losing weight and exercise.
Yeah,
It's a matter of feelings,
it is.
right? It's a matter of how you feel when you eat, how you feel when you do things, how you feel when you exercise, how you feel when you sit on the couch, how you feel. How do you want to feel? And if you
Yeah.
see yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself, I think I'm amazing, what happened is the weight will lose itself.
Mm,
I know it's kind of hard to imagine, but it works. We do everything we do in life is to get a feeling.
yeah.
And we get addicted to the feeling of, eating that chip or I know I was there eating that KFC. It feels good. And as soon as I'm stressed and I'm tired, that's where I go to. It's my go-to. Except I don't do that anymore because I now understand the feeling that I'm looking for, the feeling that I want after I do something. What is the feeling that you want? And as soon as you do that, everything takes care of itself. And it doesn't matter if it's about dieting
Hmm.
or if it's about being innovative or it's about running for the best job or running for the next, tackling the next project. Yeah, because what you want by working, because these men that I coach, a lot of them, they work like dogs, right?
Mm,
Day in and day out. What they want is respect.
yeah.
What if you already were respected,
Yeah.
right? And as soon as I realized that, well, my little stories inside my head stopped blaming people. My little stories inside my head was more malleable. And I'm doing more things than I've ever done, but yet I don't stress about it because I already am respected,
Yeah.
right? We have a couple of inputs here.
We do. So he was a good man. Simply, very simple. It's all I need, right? I don't need anything more than that, as that alone is very powerful statement. He was a good man.
Now that's like, okay. He was like, isn't that all we want?
Mic drop.
You
That's
right?
it.
Yeah.
He
Okay,
was
we're
a
gonna
good,
close the shop right now.
yeah. It absolutely doesn't need to be anything more than that. If you want to be known as he was a good man,
Mm.
more power to you. Do that. Do more of that. The one thing I know about respect, and I'm going to tell you something. My daughter, I used to believe was extremely disrespectful at school, especially at school. In grade two, she actually kicked her principal in the shin in grade
I
two.
could see her do that.
And I would say, oh, child, 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 respect your elders. And she would always say to me, even from a very young age, I will respect those, mommy, who respect me. Whoa. Right. So, what had happened on that particular time, and Mr. Ward, I'm so sorry, but Mr. Ward was an extremely tall man, and he put his hand on top of my daughter's head and turned her head. And Nicola thought that was extremely disrespectful for her. Never asked you to touch me. You scared me. I kicked you in the shin. Interesting enough, when my daughter is now a school teacher and not being kicked in the shin, but close. So she understands what it is now. But what she did very first and foremost for every class that goes in is she taught them what respect was. See, the thing is a lot of us just believe back in our day, it was all about you just respect
You
your
respect
elder,
the elders.
right? We never said as long as you're respected. Now, where my daughter came up with that, but what she knew,
Okay, I'm just stop you that for a
okay,
second. Like, if you think about what's happening in the world today,
hmm,
you think because you have the title, you have the job,
yeah,
you have yeah,
yeah,
you will be respected. That's not if you
no,
don't see what's going on, that is not how it
that's not the case.
works, right?
But it was in our day.
Well, that's what we were
Boomers and
taught.
boomers and Gen X.
That's what we're taught. That
we-
doesn't. We're way too
Sorry,
far.
that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
you have to actually teach respect. And these kids, they know stuff,
Mm,
and
they do.
they are not going to respect you if you are not respectable. To tell you the honest truth, it's a weird thing, it's a weird change that's going on in this world. And I thought it was so interesting that my daughter decided first and foremost what she was going to do is let the students know. Now these are middle school students, that she would respect them, and through that respect, they would learn how to respect. The end of the year, they all did a video,
Wow, that's
and they
fascinating.
said they asked, "What was your favorite thing?" So these kids going into grade 9, what was your favorite thing about RMS? And she had a whole bunch of kids say, "I love teachers, and but especially Miss Dixon."
Oh wow.
Yeah, so many of them. Miss Dixon listened to me. Miss Dixon, yeah. So she got married, so she's not a butler anymore. But it was amazing. I cried. I thought, my God, she's making an impact in these young kids, and that's really what it's all about. Can you make the impact? But you have to meet people where they're at. Just because you own a business doesn't mean
No.
that you're going to be respected. So these men that are coming to you that expect people to respect them blindly is never ever going to happen anymore, right? They've got to be vulnerable. They've got to get down and be a coworker, right? Being a business owner
It's not the
anymore,
title.
it's no longer the title. As a matter of fact, they're going to look at you like the last leader that they saw. And that last leader that they saw might have not been that great, unfortunately. Be the leader that you've always wanted to follow.
I'm. There's a lot of people who are mad at life right now, right?
Oh, so
And
many.
I think it has to do with the fact that they're looking for respect because they think they've earned it. I've
Yeah.
earned this money. I've earned this car. I've earned this respect. Nothing belongs to us. At the end of our lives, everything is returned.
Yeah.
Nothing belongs to
Yeah.
us.
You will be, what did Robin Sharma used to say to us? You will be buried next to the pauper.
Yeah.
You will be buried next to the
What's a pauper?
I don't know,
Okay.
a poor person,
Okay.
street cleaner. Remember, he would say, "You'll be buried next to the street
Street cleaner.
cleaner,
Yeah.
the guy who
Yeah.
was ran the dump truck." That's where you'll be
Right.
buried. There's not going to be some place that you're going to go to because only business owners are in
So,
this
so
cemetery.
you think about that, all the things that you do, how many things that you do to get that feeling of respect?
Yeah,
And we do a lot of things to get that feeling of respect, right?
yeah,
And at the end of the day, it's a feeling that you can say, I am respected because I respect other people, right? So if you start respecting other people, opening doors and carrying bags and like caring for people who are has left in you, giving hugs and right,
yeah,
if you have that feeling every single day, you will get respect because you're already there in the feeling. It's not about how many things you have, how many cars you have, how well you look, how well you dress. Respect is something that you feel.
absolutely. I've never been to a funeral ever and heard somebody say, "Man, he had the nicest Maserati."
No.
Right?
I
It
to-
just doesn't
I
happen,
want to
right?
tell you the story. So
Okay.
I have so many stories because of like, so I went to a funeral. It was one of my friend's dad, and I know him as
Mhm.
Paul. It was his name. He was a nice man, always jovial. And so he was 92 when he passed. And he lived in his house until he was 92. And like he was fine. And then, but he decided to write his obituary himself.
Mhm.
And he wrote it as his grandchild. And
Oh,
his grandchild read it,
that must have
right?
been so good.
And it was like the grand, it was so emotional. So the young man goes up and his wife goes with him to the podium. And I thought,
Mhm.
well, that's interesting.
Mhm.
And she's holding him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can tell this guy's like going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
And he reads the obituary that he's modified, the one that his granddad that now we don't know this, right?
Oh,
We don't know this. He's reading this and he's having a hard time holding it in. And you can tell like he holds it and he does it. It was beautiful. He does a beautiful job. And he sits down and the priest says, I have never seen this before. And let me tell you what I have never seen. First of all, I've never seen anybody write their own obituary, but the way this young man took it was something I've never seen before because I read it. And he said at every 5 words, he would have the word breathe,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And do you know,
Breath is
hold on,
everything.
he never talked about his car or the house or like his pedigree, right? What he talked about was the moments, the moment they went campings, the moment that um, they were digging clams, the moment they had fires, the moment at Christmas. What he talked about was moments,
Yeah.
right? Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
It's moments. All the things we do it for creating moments. You don't have to go anywhere to create a moment. You have to be here. You have to do anything or buy anything to create a moment. You have to be here.
That's it.
You have to be in this present moment.
Yeah.
Respect right there. Right.
That's
All
what
right.
it is.
Yeah. Sorry.
Building deep relationships on curiosity and humility and open honesty,
Mhm.
pushing himself and those he loved towards their potential.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Be that kind of leader. I was approached. I have so many stories. I was at A&W Rishibuktu this weekend, and this girl says, "I was wondering who you were." So how do you call when you like you chase people down with social media? I
Stalked you.
stalk.
Yeah.
So she stalks me, and she says, "I'm looking at your Mindset Monday," and I'm talking. She says, "I want to bring this to my boss. We should incorporate some of the stuff you're saying or doing into your company inside A&W." I thought that was a
Yeah, we
nice thing.
should. We should. Well, how many places have you and I've been and people come up to us and was like, "Oh my
Yeah, see
God."
you on Facebook Live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So even I have absolutely no idea the
you
impact that we
don't.
make until we go out there in the world ourselves and people come and let us know. We're extremely humbled by it. What we do know is we worked
Mm,
really hard to change wellness in the workplace here at Dovico.
mm.
We want you guys to discover that. We want people to be happy about coming to work. We want people to be excited about coming to work. It's a big part of your life.
It
And
is.
if you have to drag your ass every day into work, I mean,
Mm,
how difficult is that? And then what kind of energy are you going to have to leave
absolutely.
this legacy behind, to want to live a different way, to make an impact in this world? Um, so the last comment we have here is I'd like people to say that I made them feel seen, supported, and valued.
And so I'm going to ask you, what is that feeling like?
Mm,
When somebody says to you, I can relate because this young man, when he said to me that he felt seen, supported, and valued, I had a feeling inside of me. And it's a feeling of like, I'm going to describe it. You have a feeling, you can't quite describe what it is. And then you say, kind of add things against it. Oh, he feels like this, feel respected, feel
yeah,
honored, feel abundance, feel proud, right? That you
yeah,
have like an impact. So if you look at that feeling and say, that's the feeling I want, can you live in that feeling ahead of the experience? And if you can do that, right,
yeah.
respect will come. It's not about paying people money. It's not about the pool table.
Nope.
It's not about like giving everything that you have away. It's not about that.
Mm-mm.
It's like actually seeing that feeling. Like when you see someone and you have this feeling already of respect, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
get that respect. It's the way that's where that's you're gonna get the respect in life. It's not about everything else. It's how do you see?
yeah.
How do you see yourself and how do you feel?
We're so caught up in our own lives and what's going on that we forget to be curious. I love this, right? Relationships on curiosity and humility. Like, find out what your coworkers are doing.
Yeah,
Everybody loves to have a minute and talk about how they're making an impact, right? How they believe that their job is creating something new and hopefully profitable. But I think that we tend to get into our own heads and we really want to just talk about ourselves. And being a great listener is the very first kind act of
absolutely.
leadership you can actually work on yourself. Be a great listener. Sometimes it's not about putting anything on other people's ideas.
Mm,
Sometimes it's just about listening and being there for them. We
absolutely.
always believe as leaders that we have to push people a little bit more or stretch their abilities. But sometimes if you just meet them where they're at, they will actually.
They'll stretch themselves. They'll push themselves.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
exactly what will
Mhm.
happen, right?
Every
Give
time.
them the power to have their own growth world, their
Absolutely.
own growth cycle, their own ability to create a pattern for themselves of constant reaching for the moon, if you will, right? I think it's important.
It is. Do we have another question?
We are at the, no,
Oh,
do we?
well, you have three?
No,
No.
this is your side.
So, because we're going to leave you for the summer,
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with something.
Okay.
So, whatever you want out of life, whatever you do out of life, think about what is it that the feeling that I'm going to get when I get there? What is the feeling that I want when I will buy that thing or get that thing or accomplish that thing? And then can lose weight, have money, have the raise, have the job, have the house, go on a trip, right? I can't wait
Yep.
until it's like it's sunny. What is that feeling you're looking for? And then bring that feeling and say, what if I already have it? That's
Yes.
okay. What if I already have the money, the job? What if I already have the respect? What if I already look good?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? What if I already have love in my life? How does that feel? And then just be in that moment
Mm,
and live in that moment, discover that moment because the brain does not understand the difference, right, between what you don't want and what you want. So we
yes.
go through life practicing what we don't want to see. And I'm asking you to be in the space of surrounding yourself with people you want to be like so that you can practice that, discovering people that you want to be like. Like if you like Mark Carney, then follow Mark Carney. If you want to
Yep.
be like him,
Yep.
instead of saying I'm against something, be for something. Mother
Hmm.
Teresa 101, right? And then be in that practice of that feeling that you get when you see something amazing, right? And
Yeah.
feel that and then live your life like that. And the rest is easy,
Love that. Absolutely love that. Go to the end.
right?
Go to the end. How do you want to how do you want to make yourself feel when you actually get there?
Oof,
Love that. Maybe I'll go buy that string bikini.
you should. Me, I'll do one too.
Okay.
Okay. Sprint.
We'll teach yoga in that together.
Oh, some
Oh,
things you don't
there.
want to see.
Imagine that.
No,
Okay.
no. Oh,
Yes, this is our very last for this season.
summer.
For summertime. Yeah. So this is gonna be our last Mindset Monday for a little bit. You never know, even I can decide to pop on. We can do whatever the heck
Yeah,
we want.
we can.
Yeah. For the
I'll drop
leaders
by
of
to
our
your
life.
cottage and I'll go. We'll do a pop.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that would be a good idea. Okay, so I'm Shelley Butler,
I mean, Doucet.
and this is Mindset Monday. I love you. Get your workout in. And how are you showing up?
That's the question right there.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to say bye.